There's another video coming out of Vallejo. I want to play the video so that you can see it and see what we're talking about, right? People will automatically go into the justification of the treatment of African Americans at the hands of police, because they'll find ways to justify it because they've got to be, we got to be afraid of them. They're thugs. Look at this video, and then we'll discuss. The officers are running up for the radio audience. You'll be able to hear it in a second.
Crowd gathering. Give me your fucking ass. He gave up, man. No, shut up. He gave up, man. Hey, we good, baby. Hey, man, he fucking gave up, man. Police ain't real. Give me your fucking real. Police brutality. I am God. I am God.
I apologize for the noise for the radio audience. You have to see the video.
Are you still hitting, man? Hey, you fucked up. Go the other way. Pussy.
All right. So there's a police officer. You can see it. For those of you who couldn't see it on the podcast, I apologize. But the police officer is doing what police officers do. They beat the hell out of people, but they specifically beat the hell out of black people. They extra bonus points for black young people. But this video is actually not even as bad as the video of the black woman who's like, I think in her 50s, who the police officer pulled over on the side of the road in California and literally straddled her and was beating her like he was in a cage match. So, I mean, just to be sure, this is not the only way. They don't just treat black men, young men like this. They treat black women in their 50s like this. And how do we get away with it? How do we never address this? It's because we dehumanize the person and say that they're a thug, that they had to do something wrong, that they were resisting arrest. You know what? I've yet to meet a single human being of any race who can actually be under assault and not use their hands to protect themselves. In other words, if the officer begins this situation by striking them, right? If this is how if he throws you to the ground, I don't care what the scenario is. Once a person slams you to the ground and they straddle you, I've yet to meet a human being who will not put their hands up above their head to protect themselves. But as soon as you do that, not only are you charged with resisting arrest, but you almost could be charged with assaulting a police officer. And this is what the video shows, right? And you can hear all kind of conversations on the video. Some witnesses say that the kid, we don't see what happened beforehand, but you have witnesses who said that the kid surrendered. But even though the kid surrendered, the witness said, quote, the cop, on the other hand, came right up behind him. He immediately dove on the kid and started wailing on him. And then, of course, you heard in the video, I didn't get a chance to bleep it out, the officers telling everyone to get the F back, F you, and all this kind of thing. You have people already lined up justifying it. Don Cameron, a police officer who was interviewed by the police, said that the actions were justified. Well, yeah, what threat? Show us what are you basing that on? What are you basing that on? Right? This is what they do always. And see, now the new division, the newly refined, it's always been there. The newly refined division is this entire automatically defaulting to the side of the police, right? It's been newly refined with Blue Lives Matter and their ability to make every thug police officer seem heroic, no matter how atrocious their actions are, because every time the police officer goes out, he has to fear for his life to come back home. So clearly we should justify him beating the hell out of a kid who surrendered. It becomes tiring, and this is really why I don't like having to do these stories, because once you see one, you're going to start seeing all of them. You're going to see it happening over and over and over again. And you realize the extent to which, how big this problem is. You realize how ubiquitous this problem is. It's happening every single day. And yes, it does happen to white people. I think in terms of raw numbers, white people are assaulted more and are killed more in raw numbers. But as a percentage, black people are disproportionately killed. But I always say this: if you have a knee-jerk reaction to your knee-jerk reaction is for you to fall on the side of the police officers when it's a black person being accosted, then you are undermining your own fight. Because if there is a police state, you better believe it starts in the most marginalized communities first. And if you are a police, anti-police violence, you are cop block, you're all these things, you're fighting against a police state, but you turn a blind eye to when it is prevalent in the black community, then you're just literally cross the tracks away from it happening in your community.